if you are watching right now, this is the replay. We are no longer live, but welcome. Today we are going to be making a little bee. The pattern is a big bee and I have scaled it down to 85%. We are going to do a reverse applique as well as a zipper closure without a zipper panel. That technique is a little bit more advanced. So I'm going to show you when we get there how I did it, how I practiced, and hopefully make it as easy as possible for you to do it. Just gonna wait for my TikTok friends to jump on and then we'll get started. Hey Deanie, happy Friday. Does anybody have any fun things they're doing this weekend? So this is the interior print that we're going to be using. I have some solid black for the exterior, and then we're going to be using some red zipper, which is beautiful. So we're making this bag right here, and then inside this heart we're going to have this print. Hey Linda, hey Judy, hey Kim, hello. Yay, Friday at work, coffee and butter bags, yes. Hi Josephine, hey Latasha. So with I was about to say Thanksgiving, with Valentine's Day coming up, I kind of wanted to do a couple of bags with this heart print. I do have some Valentine's Day vinyl that should be in hopefully next week. But I wanted to show some people, if you make bags, how to turn just a solid color into a pop of something else if you don't have the vinyl fabric available, and just make it as pretty. Hi! Oh, I missed. Thankfully staying home and sewing this weekend. That's a perfect weekend. All right, let's jump in. So I did one of the panels. Let me get everything situated. So I did one of the panels. So this is what the front of the bag is going to look like. How pretty is that? So that's going to be where this heart is on this bag. Hey Terry. That's what it looks like on the back. So I'm going to show you all of the steps that I did. Here we go. The pattern piece, where did I put it? I downloaded a heart. I Googled a heart and I downloaded it on a piece of paper. And then I just transferred it over to one of these plastic cutting mats to use as my template. So that's all that I did. Nothing special. For the fabric, so this is just a piece of, hey Judy, this is just a piece of quilting cotton, and I have lined it with SF101 as well as Decaville Light. I wanted something a little bit more sturdy, especially because I have such a big hole. I don't want this really thin and make the bottom of my bag kind of collapsible. So using 2 layers of interfacing just gives you more sturdiness. I know you can't probably tell, but this is just as hard as this is. It might even be like a touch thicker. So that's how I lined that fabric. Hi Beth. And then I'm going to show you how I did it. So this is going to be the top of the panel. This is going to be the bottom of the panel. I drew a line down the center, and then I also drew a line 1 inch up from the end. Looking at the bag now, I probably wish I would have done 1.5. And had I not made this panel with the 1 inch mark on the bottom, I probably would change it now, but I can't change it because I already did the front panel. So if I were to do this again, I would make a mark down the center. I would come up 1.5 inches and then go ahead and use my templates to mark it out. Hi. Hey Cindy. Hey Onelia. Sorry, I missed a couple. Diane, I think I'm using a size 16 needle on this bag. Now all I'm going to do is take the center up here and the center down here and line that up on that center line that I drew. And then the end point is going to stop on that line that I drew. Because if I were to do it on the very end, once the bottom is sewn to the bag, you won't be able to see the bottom of it. But again, hindsight, I would go up 1.5 inches and stop there. So I'm just going to line those centers up. trace my heart. You can use a heart, you can make a flower, you can use a paw print. I mean, you could use anything that you want. I'm just doing this for Valentine's Day. Until you showed it up close, I thought the heart was a pocket. I wish I could do that. I mean, I could. It's actually a really good idea. Let me think about that. All right, so this I'm gonna set aside for now. Don't fall. I have a little cutting board and I have a blade. If you're watching on the replay on YouTube, I will go ahead and link where I purchased this from. And I'm just gonna use this to cut it out. You can absolutely use scissors. Fold it in half to get started, or you can even just fold it in half right here on the straight way, get started, and then you can cut it out with scissors. It's not gonna change it. This is gonna be fun. Hi, Ecuador. All right, so I'm just going to use this and cut it out. To avoid a raggedy, or jagged, I guess I should say, not raggedy, a jagged line, I try to do this all in one cut without picking up my blade. Because again, this is what it's going to look like when you're done. Now, depending on what fabric you use behind it, it could be a little bit more forgiving, but let me come up close. You can definitely see the edge of the vinyl. So if there's a little bit of a jagged edge, it might pick it up. Hi, Gladys. All right, so I'm gonna start in the center and then just go nice and slow. With this tool, you don't have to apply a lot of pressure to cut the vinyl. And again, I'm just gonna go slow. The last couple ones I did, I was standing up at my cutting table, so sitting down definitely makes it a little bit more challenging. So if I were you doing this, I would definitely do it standing up. And I'm just gonna use the cutting mat and turn that whole thing so I don't have to worry about my vinyl going off the cutting mat or having to pick up my blade. Good morning. Is this gonna be for a big B? It's gonna be for a little B. So it's the big B, but I just printed the pattern pieces at 85%. And if you go a little over the lines like I'm doing, it's no big deal. Nobody knows how you traced it on because it's traced on the back. So as long as it looks like a heart, if you go over the line just a touch, don't stress out about it. Okay, let's come back up. I have a camera recording up top for my YouTube that I post later. So I'm gonna be looking up top. I'm not going crazy, you guys. I'm just making sure it can see. And again, you can do this in any kind of print or use any stencil to do this. You can even write a word or a phrase and cut it out. It doesn't just have to be like a heart. This has rubber on the edges of it, so it's not really moving as easy if it didn't. Ugh. That's probably the hardest part. Sewing it on is easy breezy. Alright, I'm coming back to the beginning. And after you cut this little item out, don't throw it away. You can use it for a regular bag. So if you have like a printed fabric, you can use this as an applique piece. All right, so this is what it looks like. I'm gonna put it over the white so you can kind of see. As I watch your live, I wish I was crafting and not working. I know, I'm sorry. put this up so we don't harm ourselves. Okay. I don't need this any longer. Alright, so now what we're going to do is add a piece of double-sided tape along the top and the bottom. I cut this out about 1 inch taller than my pattern piece. Actually, probably 1.25 inches taller. Let me use the other one so it stands out a little bit more. Yeah, I have like 3/4 inch clearance here, 3/4 inch clearance here, and then actually about 1 inch on either side. So make sure that your fabric is larger than your pattern piece. All right, let me grab some double-sided tape. I'm just going to use 1/4 inch. At the top and on the bottom. You can put it all the way around if you want. And this is just going to hold this piece in place on the vinyl while we're sewing it. Take off the backing. My husband's home from work, so you guys might hear a little noise. Line that up. There we go. And then just press that tape down. So I can feel the end of it is right here, and then the top of it is right here. I'm going to be sewing as close as I possibly can to the edge of this heart, so that's going to give me plenty of clearance. Good morning. All right, let's go with a 4 stitch length. Up a little bit higher. I'm not going to back stitch. Instead, I'm going to pull my thread through so that way it looks like one seamless row of stitching. I'm going to try to go as slow as possible. When I get to the center, I'm going to come down 1/2 stitch more and then come back around. All right, I'm going to pause and pull my thread through. And then my goal is to stop stitching in the same stitch that I started. There we are. Pull that stitch through. Now if you just give it a little bit of a pull, that other stitch usually pops right through. I'm going to grab it and make sure that's the right one. I think it might be this one. There we go. Tie that off in a knot. Oh shucks, still leave my dogs outside. I think I left my dogs outside. Hold on, let me let them in. I let them out right before I went live because I was like, I don't want them to have to make me stop in the middle of my live. And here I did. I enjoyed your new food. Oh good, thanks Barb. Jane, are the dogs up there with you? Yeah. Okay. Okay, they weren't outside. I heard something outside. Okay, sorry. All right, so here's what we got. I just got a little bit of tape stuck in my stitch. So here's what it looks like on the outside. Here's what it looks like on the back. Again, it just looks like one seamless row of stitching because I didn't back stitch at the start and the stop. Now, you can cut this down to size if you want. I don't want to. I want to have the full length of it just for stability purposes. So this is going to be the front. This is probably going to be the front because I really like the placement of the flowers. This is going to be the back. All right, let's go ahead and finish the front because we're going to do a couple of things different. Instead of a magnetic snap closure or a zipper panel closure like the pattern offers, I'm going to show you how to add a zipper directly to the vinyl so that there is no panel visible. That's what it looks like on the inside. So it's going to be sewn directly into the vinyl. And you can either leave the tail tucked in like this, or you can pull the tail out and have that like that so that it opens just a touch more. But it allows you to open this wide. This I would consider an advanced technique. What I would recommend doing is practicing. So when I did this the other day, I hadn't done one in so long. The only real tricky part is the end. So see how there's a little pleat right there when I sewed it on? When I was sewing it together, I realized what my mistake was. And so that's why I can't stress enough, just practice. Grab some fabric that you know you're never going to use. I cut this 11 by 5.5 just to give me enough material to work with so that I could practice this on. And then a zipper that you don't either hardly use or know you'll never use. But you can kind of tell the difference between the little pleat mistake that I made in this one that I practiced on, and then this one where it just looks so seamless, like it's coming right out of the vinyl, which is what we want. So I'm going to show you this technique, practice, because again, it is a little bit more advanced. Hey, Just Manny, how you feeling? Okay. So before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and do my shoulder strap attachments. I'm going to add that to the bag before I add my zipper. Double-sided tape right down the center. Thanks, Joe. This tape is giving me such a hard time. It's just sticking to the side, so I just have to go slow. Well, I'm glad you're doing better. At least it's not worse. What pattern is this? So this is a modified Big B. I modified it with the front and back panel, adding the little reverse applique. I think that's what it's called. And then I printed the pattern at 85%. Where is the best place to get vinyl fabric? So all of my solid vinyl that I use, I get from marinevinylfabric.com. Hi, Claire. How are you? Happy Friday. I'm not usually up here on Friday. All right, let me grab my hardware. So I'm just going to fold these up, press it into the tape, add my hardware, and then set it aside. I'm gonna do that times 4. Hi, Tammy. Is anybody doing anything fun this weekend? I know somebody said that they were going to be crafting, sewing. That's fun. I don't think we have any plans for the weekend. Oh, I think we're going out to dinner with some friends. Day 2 of a 9-day work run. Hi Nassim, I'm going to a train show for my husband. Like a choo-choo train show? Oh, snow. Shirlene, this is double-sided tape. It's also called leather tape. I get mine from Wawak, W-A-W-A-K. This is 1/2-inch double-sided tape. Or hyper stick tape. I can't remember the name of it. Model trains, nice. Is it indoor or outdoor? Trying to make a wedding ring quilt. I've never heard of that. This sounds beautiful. Is that just like the style or is it a pattern or print? Son-in-law just got out of the army. Oh, nice. Out of the army, like retired or not in there anymore? He supports my hobby, so I support his indoor. Fair. Very fair. Okie doke. Let's go ahead and add these to the outside. So I'm going to come down 1.25 inches. I think that's a little different from the pattern, which is why I can tell you. Pattern is going to be time consuming. I bet. Did his 5-year commission, is ready to be home. I don't blame him. I'm ready to find a home. What pattern is this? So this is called the Big B by Butterbags, and I have just reduced it to 85%. There we go. So that's just taped in place. We're gonna sew that down in a bit. I'm excited to make the 85%. I think it's such a great size. I mean, honestly, I think the Kiana at 85% and the Big B at 85%, I actually think I like that more than the original, which is okay. All right, here we go. So we're just gonna go ahead and stitch those down. Are you sending updates, cutting directions for the Big B? No, so we're going to treat the Big B. I think there was a little bit of confusion and I'm not really sure how that confusion was started. But I'm not sending any. The only update to the pattern is that the pattern now has pattern pieces. So before it just had a cut list, and I added pattern pieces to the pattern, and that way when you print them, you can scale them up to make it bigger or down to make it smaller. But similarly to any other pattern that you would purchase, if you make adjustments to the pattern, I mean, and I have done this with other pattern makers as well. If I buy a pattern from somebody and I want to change something, the size, I usually have to figure out what needs to be changed. Now, I can send you, if you've purchased the pattern and you send me an email, info@butterbags.com, I can tell you what I changed the pattern pieces to. I'm not sure, like there were some people who thought that it was a completely new pattern that they were going to get to make the Big B at 85%. Again, I'm not really sure how that confusion came about, but the pattern is the same. It just has pattern pieces that you can print to scale up and down. My 55th birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday. Oh no, however, I got food poisoning. Yes. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I hope you feel better, Laura. So that's the changes to the pattern. All right, let's get this sewn down. It just has pattern pieces. Which, even without the pattern pieces, if you multiply all of the measurements by 85%, you can get the pattern at 85%, but this is just a lot easier. That way you don't have to do any math. I just got some tape in my stitching. this is gonna stitch over that back piece just a little bit. That's totally okay. It's not gonna hurt anything. What would you recommend to start making when using vinyl for the first time? Something simple. I actually have a wristlet pattern for vinyl. You could also use cotton for it. I would say that's pretty easy. I'm not sure if anybody else knows of a more simpler pattern. I also have a notebook cover and a passport holder that's pretty simple. There's not a whole lot of stitching or sewing in that pattern. I'm not sure if anybody else has any other recommendations for... Oh, it doesn't sound good. Make sure those stitches went through. They did. It looks like I just pulled my thread through. But there's also a lot of free patterns and project ideas on like YouTube that you can just go on. A lot of them, they just give you the measurements and then you just cut it out. It just pulled my thread through, but it went through okay, so we're good. What would you recommend to start? Oh, I already read that. What are the measurements for the placement of the strap connectors on 85%? So it's 1 1/4 down and then 3.5 inches in. Hi Debs, what kind of thread do you use? Gutermann, it's Morris 70. How much is custom vinyl bag? So my custom prices are the exact same as the regular prices. The only thing that changes is if you add something to the bag. That's not standard. For example, if you add an outside pocket, that's not standard, so that's gonna cost a little bit more. I don't sew anymore, but Alyssa seems doable, yes. Yeah, the Alyssa is pretty simple too. If you are new to vinyl but not new to sewing, like you're familiar with sewing, I would say that the Alyssa is doable. All right, one more connector and we can move on to the zipper part. The Baby is the first bag I made years ago. Oh, really? Like first bag ever? I didn't straighten out my hair, you guys, so it looks really raggedy. Normally, I take a second to hit it with my straightener. I did not take that second today. Yes. That's a big bag for your first one. How many times have you made it since then? Just gonna singe my little tiny threads with my lighter. Okay, this was the one I want on the front because there's just, I like the flower placement just a little bit better. So let me grab my nameplate. Roll credit, oh, thank you, 10 to 15. Yeah, I really like the bag. I mean, it's simplistic, but it's still a really pretty, I mean, you can make it into a really pretty bag. Okay. I'm gonna center this right in between my two little connectors. That went away real fast. I usually hold the backs of them this down to get my placement, and it went away really fast. Move it up just a touch. There we go. This is the wrong one. I don't know why. I keep grabbing the wrong one. Your YouTube tutorials are great for the newbies. Thank you. Purchasing all your pattern. Thank you. I try. So if you watched my last YouTube tutorial, I mentioned that I'm going to start adding a full screen, just like it's recorded on YouTube, so the 16:9 instead of the vertical one. So right now I actually have a camera right above me that's facing down, recording everything I do right here. And then I'm going to add this over top of it, so that way you can see me, plus you can see down on the replay. All right, so this is going to be the front of the bag. How adorable. And then this is going to be the back of the bag. How adorable. So let's set this aside, work on the zipper closure. So I start by measuring down 3/4 of an inch from the opposite side that I'm going to put my pull on. So I'm putting my pull here, measurement goes down here. Thanks, Nikki. Thanks, Sheila. So pretty. All right. Grab my pens. We're going to flare this open. So, if you haven't seen this before, the reason why we're flaring this open is just to give it a really pretty edge. It's kind of like a curved edge once we put it on the bag. So this is what it looks like if you take the time to flare it out, this part right here. Don't fall, please don't fall. So at that mark that we made, we're just going to fold it down and pinch the zipper together, and then flare up the back so it's at a 90, well, perpendicular. And then I'm going to add a little pin. So that's what it looks like. Is the center fabric cotton? Yes, and it is lined with woven interface, SF101, and 1 layer of Decaville Light. So she's thick. But the next one that I make, I think I want to make a smaller heart and then just add it a couple of places around the bag. I really like this really big heart because it just allows you to get more fabric in, but I definitely am going to try it with just smaller hearts randomly put up. I just figured out how to print the patterns at 85. Good! Happy cold Friday. I know it's 31 degrees here, which I know I shouldn't complain because I know it's colder other places, but that's cold for me. That would be cute. I took my dogs on a walk yesterday. I think it was like 30 degrees, and I don't know why I haven't made myself a pair of mittens yet or gloves, but my hand, I thought they were going to get a frostbite. Like it hurt coming in from walking them. It hurt to like unsnap their harnesses. I need to just take some time. All right, so I cut my zipper 16 inches long. By the time we trim it, I'm going to, or not trim it, but curve the edges. It's gonna take away a little bit of that length. So after I curve my edges, I'm going to trim the excess down, hit that with my lighter. And then I'm going to cut it to, what did I write down? Let me grab my notes. 14 inches. So I'm going to make a mark 14. So when you cut this, you can actually cut it at 15 inches so you don't waste any zipper. Let me write that down. Cut 15. Did you eliminate the bottom panel on the outside? No. Actually, that's not right. Because this is 16. cut it 16. And then we're going to cut it down to 14. So once you flare it open, cut it down, it should be 14 inches. We're going to take our zipper end, which is 1.5 by 1 3/4. I'm going to make a mark on the center. Add some double-sided tape. All of the changes I'll go ahead and add in the description on YouTube, so it might be a little bit easier for those watching it back on the replay. Double-sided tape on the top and bottom. That's just going to hold it in place while I sew. You should do earmuffs too. I know. You're welcome, Susie. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. I've been doing a lot of crocheting, and I've done like a lot of hats and scarves. I actually just did a shawl. I finished my shawl last night. I'm really excited about that. My husband calls me grandma when I wear it. What's your name on YouTube? Butterbacks. It's linked in my TikTok profile too. So if you go over to my TikTok profile, right over the follow button, you'll see both my Instagram and TikTok. I'm sorry, Instagram and YouTube. All right, so that's just taped in place. I'm just going to do a stitch right along the bottom of it just to secure it in place. I forgot you were on. What are you making? We are making the Big B at 85% with a heart center and a zipper closure without using a zipper panel. I'm not just doing one. I'm gonna sew a box. I don't know what I was thinking. So I'm just going to sew right along the outside. Edge. Sorry, that was delayed. My brain is going everywhere right now. There we are. I saw a sweater that you made, yeah. Hey Lucy, how are you? I haven't seen you in forever. All right, so that is what it looks like. Sorry, I sewed a rectangle, not just a line. Okay, so here's the tricky part. We're going to sew it directly to our panel. Wherever your zipper is going to start, you want to mark 1.5 inches in. So the part that has the rounded edge will have the 1.5 inches. That's where it's going to start. And then where it ends, we're going to measure 2 inches and make a mark. Just like that. So what's going to happen is we are going to start our zipper teeth down at that 1.5 inch mark. Sew all the way till we get to our 2 inch mark, and then we're going to slowly curve our zipper down. I'm going to show you it once I do it, but I also want to show you how to do the other side so that your zipper lines up. You want to make sure that the top, which is where the zipper is going to connect these two like this, you're making the right mark on the right side. So I'm just going to line them up and just transfer that mark right on over. Transfer the mark right over. That way I know it's going to start here, stop here on both sides, and everything is going to match up. Sorry, I dropped my zipper. Doesn't matter which one you start on. Just remember 2 inches is for the tail, the 1.5 is for our curved edge. Hi, jump on every now and then. Welcome. What kind of pen? This is just a regular writing pen. This I'm marking at the very top. I'm going to be sewing over it, so you're not going to see that mark when I'm done. I'm going to unzip it. You can keep it zipped if you want. I just want that pull out of the way. We're going to line that curve up where we place that mark and then sew all the way down with a, I'm just going to go as close to the edge as possible. So like an 1/8 inch seam allowance. Remember, it's teeth down. right, I'm going to put my finger where that 2-inch mark is so I know to kind of slow down when I get there. And then again, I'm just going to hold this in place. Let me get I'm going to hold this in place where that 2-inch mark is, and then just have this come down just like that. And again, if you watch this back on the replay, you'll be able to see the view from upstairs. Let me trim this and then I'll show you up close. So that is the starting edge. We came all the way over and then it stops right there. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now to make sure that it's lined up correctly, you can pull your zipper down, grab onto it, and then we know we're going to start here. Now I'm just going to clip that in place. Make sure my hardware is pointing down. Clip this up, because sewing this way, we're going to have to start at the edge, so I want to make sure that this is nice and straight. So everything lines up perfectly at the end. Remember, when I started saying this, I said this is an advanced technique, so it might be a little bit confusing. That's why I can't stress enough to practice first. Practice. I've been sewing for a really long time and I still had to practice, so there's no shame in practicing. All right, so when we start here, we're going to find that little mark that we made. We are going to round this down and then start sewing at that mark. I'm just using my fingers, holding everything down. Done. Now, I'm going to take the opportunity to make sure everything lines up correctly. So that's what it should look like. You should now see the zipper teeth at the very top. And when you close them, that's what it's going to look like. So if you do this and it's twisted, now is the perfect time to fix it before you go any further. All right, let's go ahead and add the bottom. So I'm going to mark the center bottom of both sides. I already marked the center of the bottom, so I'm going to match that up, sew it down. I haven't seen any comments since I started doing this, so I just want to make sure I'm still live. Can you guys still see me okay? Okay, good. I didn't want to lose anybody with that explanation. All right, we're going to cut down. Thanks. Cut up to where that seam allowance is and just follow it all the way down. We are going to do a top stitch on the bottom. What kind of bag are we making? We are making the Little Bee. Okay, good. Good, crafty mom. Just paying attention. Sometimes when I'm explaining something and I don't get any feedback, I wonder, like, man, I hope this makes sense. Okay, we're going to pull this down. And we are going to sew the bottom to the other side. I'm entranced. Stop, Missy. I think we were all concentrating on your zipper. Okay, good. Wendy, I can't give prices on live, but they're listed on my website, butterbags.com. same thing. Cut down. I don't think Becca knows how soothing her. Stop, April. So thrilled you're doing the little bee. Yay! You cut one out last night. Nice, Debbie. So you don't sew the curved end of the zipper down. Are you talking about the piece that starts? This curved edge, that does get sewn down. This side right here, it kind of comes out when it's curved down, so I'm not sure which curve you mean. Do you top stitch the zipper? This is going to be top stitched at the end. I didn't know you released a little bee, but okay, so April, it's not a little bee pattern. It's the big bee pattern printed at 85%. The pattern was updated with pattern pieces that you can print. Before it just had a cut list. So it's not a new pattern, it's the same pattern. It's just you can print it down at 85%. But if you didn't get the update, just shoot me an email, info@butterbags.com, and I will send it to you. All right, this is gonna be a little bit tricky because we have our zipper attached and we need to top stitch this bottom piece right here, but it's totally doable. Just move it out of the way, start stitching, and you'll be fine. Or do it this way, whatever floats your boat. The tail end, what is the benefit of curving that at the end while sewing? So there's no way that you can attach a zipper directly to the vinyl without a zipper panel unless you, so let me show you. Let me sew this down first and then I'll show you. Okay, so when you're sewing a zipper directly to the vinyl, this does not have a zipper panel. This does have a zipper panel. This is the panel. So the zipper is not sewn directly to the outside of the vinyl. There's a panel in there. And then you have your zipper end that comes out because this part is not directly attached to the vinyl. If you attach it directly to the vinyl like this, it has to come off. The alternative is that you have to have a zipper end like this. See how this zipper is sewn directly to the inside and outside of the bag? There's no panel, but it has a zipper end right here. The way that this is sewn down, it's just a little, and you can do this. You can add this, and then, but you would have to sew it together a totally different way. So you can have an end like this, but that's going to restrict how far this bag can open. For example, this bag can only open up here. It can't go any further. So when you have the opening of the bag, your opening is from here to where the zipper starts. You don't have all of this access. But when you do the zipper like this, you can open it all the way up and then you have the full size of the bag. So it's just a different technique. There's no right, wrong, bad, good way of doing it. This is just a different technique. You can make this bag with a zipper end like this, or like with the Alyssa, and sew it together like this. But it's just going to be a little bit different because this is 3-dimensional. It has a bottom. This in the Alyssa is 2-dimensional. It just has a front and the back. So again, it's just a technique. I'm a visual learning. No worries. It's okay. That's what I'm here for. Hopefully I'm not coming out like rude. I don't care about the questions. I just want to make sure that I answer it in a way that makes sense. I use metal zipper in, so no issue top stitching the bottom. I put zipper on after it's finished. You can do that too. If I want a picture of my grandkids on a wallet, can I do this? Yeah, I do custom orders. You can send me a request at my email, info@butterbags.com. I was making one of these bags earlier. I was actually making this bag earlier, and I thought, how incredible would it be to have a picture inside of this? Like a picture of your dog or of your grandkids. This is the perfect way, just a different avenue to bring a different way of a bag. I truly get it now. Okay, good. I did the Tuesday tote. Oh, good. I had somebody email me about the Tuesday tote not too long ago. Okay, so we got our bottom on. We have that top stitched. Now we're going to sew our sides together. What's the neon green bag? That is a Kiana. All right, you can clip it together. I'm just gonna stitch it. That came out so well. Thanks, Hot Rod. Always learning while watching you. Okay, good. I love that. All right, we're gonna tuck our zipper in so that way, we can have our edges line up. Just gonna add a couple clips and then sew it down. What do you think is better? The Maggie 55 zip around or the zip around from Etsy? I'm not sure if a zip around on Etsy. I use Maggie 55's classic zip around wallet. I cannot recommend that enough. I think that's the only zip around wallet I've ever made. And it's perfect. You're welcome. Are you using the same seam allowance as the Big B? I just kind of go with my own seam allowance. If anyone knew to sew in bags. Oh, thanks, April. I would say yes. Use the same seam allowance as the pattern. I'm going to go ahead and open. I did not on this bag. And it's because I'm halfway paying attention. But if you use a different seam allowance on the outside, as long as you use it on the inside, it's totally okay. So if you want to use a 1/4 inch seam allowance on the outside, that's fine. Just use a 1/4 inch seam allowance on the inside. The pattern piece measurements are going to be the same inside and outside. So whatever you do to the outside, just do to the inside and you're fine. So when I say I kind of do my own thing, that's what I mean. I don't think you could ever be rude. You don't know me. I try not to be, but I absolutely can. I haven't been on a while. Did you ever get your sewing machine fixed? Yes. There's usually no reason for me to be rude, which is probably why you've never seen it. I don't like that piece of me either. That side of me. I must have been getting the heart you cut out. Are the edges raw? Yes. So you can use edge code if you'd like to, but I stitch so close to the edge, you really can't tell. So I'll show you the edge. Let me see if I can get closer. I don't know if that's focusing on the edge, but you really can't tell that it's a raw edge because I stitched so close to the cut heart. What type of machine are you using? This is a Juki 1181. Thank you. All right, so I flared my side seam open. I'm going to go ahead and sew the bottom and sides together. Now we're going to go ahead and work on the interior. When we are combining the inside and outside, let me just show you while I've got this here. The zipper tends to fold down like this. That's just the natural pull of the zipper. If you do not straighten it while you are sewing the inside and outside together, that's where you get that crease. This little crease right here. I think this one's a little worse because of the way that it naturally falls down like that. So when you're sewing the two pieces together, you have everything clipped up. When I get here, I kind of stop and I pull my little clips off and I just manually bring my zipper down like that. So you want it to curve down. You do not want it to fold the opposite way like it's doing right here. And that's the natural pull of it. So when we get there, when I'm sewing it down here, I'm not going to be able to show you that, which is why I'm showing it to you now. So it naturally bends down. And when you have the lining in, you can't see that. So again, when I get here, I kind of stop. I take my clips off that are right here so that way I can come in, manually pull it down like that and sew it together so I have that nice curve. Again, this is an advanced technique. Practice first. How long did it take you to make this bag when you're not recording? Like 45 minutes? I made one this morning in like 45 minutes. Thanks, Natalia. The heart bag is not for sale yet. No, I'm sorry. Sorry, Jen. What's your go-to solid color? I use them all. I use them all. All right, so our exterior is all done. I'm going to leave it like this because we're going to put the interior in to sew everything up together. So let's go ahead and work on, oh no, I didn't sew my pockets together. I'm gonna have to take this over to my other sewing machine. So for the interior slip pocket, because this fabric is so thin, I cannot use the sewing machine. That's why I usually prep it before I go live. So what I'm gonna do right now is sew down the side, the bottom, up this side. I'm gonna leave this whole top open, and I'll just be right back. It's just right next door. Over there. So it's just sewn down the sides, left the top open. I'm going to clip the excess fabric out of this corner, turn it right side out. Doesn't that short back chair kill your back? No. I usually don't lean on the back of it when I'm sewing. I try to keep my posture. I don't usually lean back. You look at the bags and shops and think, I can make that. Yes. I also look at it to get different ideas too. Just gonna poke that little corner out. Grab my iron. Give this a nice press. I usually have this prepped. I don't know. I think I had to, I wanted to finish that bag this morning, which is why I didn't get to this. No excuses. I'm just rolling this down. Okay. And then now I'm going to get that moisture off my table. I'm just going to add a stitch along the top just to close the top. Oh, let me get this puzzle piece. Bam, be right back. BRB. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm usually a little bit more prepared. All right, so here's our dual slip pocket. I cut this piece. I'm gonna have all the measurements on the replay. My list with all of my cut measurements are not within reach. But if you watch this on the replay, I'll have it listed. Zipper pocket, 9 inches by 6.5. 9 inches, 6.5. We're gonna put the zipper right on the top, sew that down. The prepping of materials seemed to take longer than the construction on the bag for me. That's not uncommon. Cut yourself a 9-inch zipper. How could I send a picture of what I want on the wallet? How cost will it be? Please type to me. Can somebody please let her know, him or her know that I can't type, but they can send me an email, info@butterbags.com, with their questions, and I'm happy to give them all the answers. Could see the bag under the green purse. Are you asking to see it? Sandy? All right. Zipper stitched on. Going to open this up so that way I can iron it nice and flat. Thank you guys. Yes. Okay, Sandy, hold on 1 second. This pattern, do you sell this pattern? Yes, this is the Big B by Butterbags. It's printed at 85%. This one right here, it is the Lola. It is Skull and Roses. It's got a really wide bottom. Oh, this one has purse feet too. There's Skull and Roses on the inside. It's a black and white Skull and Roses material with a zipper pocket. With purse feet. Okay. So we have our zipper pocket and slip pocket prepped. Let's go ahead and sew down our zipper overlay. You're welcome. Thanks, Nikki. Gonna use double-sided tape on the top and bottom to hold it in place. Are there any bag patterns you want to try doing from another creator? There is one that I'm on the fence about. I can't remember the name of it though. And the only reason why I'm on the fence about it is because I looked at the pattern to purchase it and they said, please don't do any YouTube video tutorials or recordings of you making the bag. And I thought to myself, I'm not sure if that's possible. So I'd rather respect them and not buy the pattern than to buy the pattern and do something that they don't want me to do. So that's the only one that I'm on the fence about. I know that didn't really answer your question. I like how you did the shower shard. Thanks. That's a great pattern. All right, let's sew this down. I'm just gonna manually go around, make sure my seam allowance is perfect all the way around. That makes sense. No, it did. That's really awesome of you, No, it did. That's really awesome. I'm not sure what you mean, Tori. We are so distracting you today. Yes, Kim, but that's okay. The bag that has no name for it, is that testing now? The tote, this bag right here, these are my totes. It's not in the testing phase yet. Don't come at me. To honor not posting YouTube. Gotcha. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Do unto others, right? If you live by that rule, like, you can never go wrong. If that was my rule, which it's not, I don't care if you make YouTube videos of my patterns. As long as you don't give away measurements, I don't care what you do. But if that's your rule, I respect it. I respect it. I mean, I know what it takes to design a pattern, test it over and over again, have other people test it, hope they test it for you, and not just come back and say, oh, I didn't have time, sorry. I know what it takes, so I have no qualms with anybody and how they want to do their patterns. None. It's an honor to be able to get patterns from people because it takes a lot of time. So I respect whatever they decide. All right, that's stitched on. Okay, I thought she had the pattern for the wallet. Oh no, the wallet is not my pattern. Sorry. I must have missed that back and forth. The classic zip around wallet is by Maggie55. So if you just search Maggie55 zip around wallet, you'll be able to find that pattern. Is your shar on YouTube? Yes, it is. Yep. Thanks for clarifying that, Barb. Sorry, I know I missed a couple of y'all's back and forth. The only website or the only wallet that I have on my website are wallets that I have made that are for sale. It's not my pattern. I actually had somebody ask me not too long ago if I was ever going to make a wallet pattern, and I thought to myself, I don't need to. The two wallet patterns that I have are, they're perfection. They're not mine, but why would I need to make one? Thanks, Christina. Okay, now that we have all that fabric outside of our zipper overlay, we're going to lay that right on top of our zipper pocket and then sew that on. I usually start the pull about an inch away from the edge, center that on, and that usually gives me about an inch on the other side. There we are. You can tape this in place. I'm just going to set it in place. When I get it under my sewing foot, I'm going to make sure it's nice and centered. I follow a lot of sewers from the UK. Your workmate. Oh, stop. Thank you, though. I missed the beginning. I was wondering what you're making. We're making this bag right here, just in a different print. There's a lot of good YouTube sewists. Pull my thread through. I just love this fabric. I've had it for so long and I'm not even sure if I've ever used it before. I know I got it from Joanne. It's a calico, but I absolutely adore this print. What would you say that these are tulips? I'm not a botanist, so I have no idea. All right. Tulip, okay, good. Gonna knot this off. That's just my iron going off. Turn it back on because we're going to sew this bag wrong side out. So we're going to turn it right side out through the zipper pocket. So I'm just going to sew down each sides of my pocket. I'm going to leave the bottom open so that we can turn the bag right side out. Just going to trim this so it's flush with this other pocket. I will usually take it to my other sewing machine to sew this down, but I'll do it here. I'm just going to roll back my tension and pray. So I'm just going to pull this to the side to have access to this pocket. We're going to just sew the two pocket pieces together. We're not sewing it to the actual lining. What is the fabric that you're using? This is cotton. I line all of my cotton with SF101 and interfacing. That makes it a little bit thicker. The outside of the bag is a faux leather. Thanks, Amy. So now I'm just going to trim this extra fabric out. I miss Joanne too. We have quite a few Michaels around here. The closest one to me does not have any fabric, but I was up north in Fairfax the other day when I was meeting my sister for lunch, and I stopped at the Michaels up there, and they did have a little bit of a fabric, but it's nothing compared to Joanne. All right, so we're just going to fold up the bottom of this pocket just to give a nice clean edge. So that way, once we turn the bag right side out and we want to close the pocket, all we have to do is just sew this down. If it was like this and we sewed it down, would that matter? No, it wouldn't matter. Why have I always turned it right side up? Because the stitch is going to be here, which the raw edge is going to be here. Why have I always rolled it up? Did I just come to an epiphany? Why does it matter? I'm going to leave it like this. No, it won't matter. Why have I always done that? Why has nobody ever told me you don't have to? I wondered that months ago. Why have I never even thought about that? All right. Done. Set that aside and do our slip pocket. What are we doing? What have I been doing all my life? I feel like I've been bamboozled. Why have I always done that? Now I know. I know. What is going on? Oh no, not this tape too. What is going on? And you get a little longer pocket, right? With this type of zipper placement, you can't do a drop-in liner. Drop-in lining. Great question, Deanie. I did it and it was terrible, so I don't recommend. You can do it, but what you're gonna have to do. So Deanie asked, with sewing the zipper directly to the vinyl, can you do a drop-in lining? And you can, but it's going to be very difficult because you have this zipper in between the inside and the outside, and you have to make sure that it lines up perfectly. So when I did one, I actually drew on my zipper a line on the front of the bottom of the zipper and then a line on the back of it, so that way when I put my lining on, I knew to line it up on that line that I drew. Same thing for the outside. It was a headache and it was not perfect. So in my opinion, this is going to be the easiest way to make sure everything lines up perfectly. You can do a drop-in lining, but again, because you cannot see the outside and inside, to make sure that they are lined up perfectly, it's going to be really difficult. Lots of great questions today. Yeah, this is not a drop-in lining. This is not a drop-in lining. The way that I do the zipper on this bag, it's not a drop-in. It's sewn inside out. Great questions. I feel like I missed some. Hey, Susan! Because you're doing a drop-in lining instead of her. And you get a little Nikki. Hey, Lisa. Okay. I feel like my whole world has been turned upside down with that zipper pocket. What have I been doing? All right, let's move on and not dwell. Do you still have fabric of Hawaii for a custom? I do, Sandy. I do have some Hawaiian prints. Yep. All right, so we are going to tape this pocket a little shy of where I drew the center mark. Push that down. Take off this tape, fold it over, and then stitch it down. I feel like that when you show me something I never thought of before, really, Barb? Like, what? That's crazy. All right. We're gonna stitch this down along the bottom and then along the top, and then I'm actually gonna show you something a little bit differently that I started doing today, this morning, with splitting our sectioned off slip pocket. It's not as mind-blowing as the zipper pocket. It's just a different way. There's usually more than one way to do everything when it comes to sewing. Hi, y'all upstairs. Am I having mind-blowing? He knows I just learned something new. That's hilarious, Barb. So your needle doesn't get sticky from the window tape? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. All right, let's go ahead. Oh. I'm gonna pin this in place. something to eat. All right. So we're going to section this pocket into a regular size and then a smaller size pocket. What I did this morning, which is something I'm probably just going to do going forward, is 1 stitch. Going to measure 2 inches in on the side. Use my fabric pen. This one will erase. So we're going to sew down the side, along the bottom, up, pivot 1 stitch, down, and then come all the way around and finish it up. Reduce my tension. That's my iron going off. I do need it to get rid of this. All right, we're gonna stop on the line. We're close to it. Come up, I'm gonna back stitch at the top just to secure that pocket. Stitch over 1, back stitch, come all the way down, and then keep going. If you wanted to sew the pocket and then come back and do your 2 section stitches, again, it's totally okay. It sounds like he's using every pan in the cupboard, right? Smells good. All right, then we're just gonna get rid of that little mark that I made. All right, done. So we have our dual slip pocket. 1 pocket for everything, 1 pen pocket or lip gloss or anything else that you want to use. We're going to add the top band. So this is the top of the lining. I'm going to turn it right sides together, clip it in place, and then sew it down. Get this on this stuff so it's out of my way. All right, my tension right. I need to check my bobbin before I top stitch this. I used the same bobbin this morning, so I just need to make sure I'm good to finish. Is that a bag and a bottom middle cubby? This right here, these are my keychain wallets. These are my notebooks right here. Oh yeah, I'm good. All right, let's go ahead and do a top stitch. Want to make sure that your zipper pocket is pressed away and that you're not accidentally sewing over it. are going to add the bottom. So I'm just going to fold this in half to find the bottom center. Add just a little tiny snip. You make everything look so easy. Thanks, Nancy. I've just been doing it for a really long time. Boop. Grab my lining. I think I already marked the center of that. I did. So at this point, if you did not want to do a zipper closure, if you wanted to do a magnetic snap closure, you can go ahead and add your snaps after we sew the interior together. I just wanted to make that statement before I forgot. The pattern shows you how to do a zipper panel as well as a magnetic snap. This is just an alternative way. It's just an extra. It's just a bonus. How long have you been sewing bags? Like almost 10 years. 9-10 years. Pulls out of the needle every single time. How do you get away with letting your thread so short? If I let... Oh, pull out of the needle. You're talking about like right here? Or when I get done sewing. I think you're talking about when I start sewing, because if you don't have a tail, sometimes it can get sucked up. Mine actually depends on my needle placement, if my needle is down or up. The higher up it is, the more of this it sucks in when it starts sewing. All right, match up our centers. Sew that together. And then we're going to sew our sides together. And then we have one more step before we put the interior and exterior together. Girl, I can sew, oh girl, sorry, you didn't say girl. I don't know why I read that. Can I sew bags on a domestic machine? So I would say, yeah, some of them. This particular pattern, I have had people tell me, and I have actually personally used my domestic sewing machine to make this bag. It really depends on the material that you use. So if you use vinyl, it's going to be a little bit trickier. You can still do it, but this bag can be made in cotton as well. It has to do with quality in the machine you use, yes. All right, side sewn. All right. Now we are going to sew the side and the bottom together. Open up that side seam. May I ask what kind of interface you use? So usually for the lining of my bag, I use like a SF101, a woven interface. This one is Profuse from Wawac, but it's just like SF101. In my opinion, I really like the drape of it a little bit more. I find that SF101 is a touch more stiff than Profuse. Profuse just has a nicer drape to it. But either one, I've used either one. All right, our lining is all done. That's what it looks like. So we have our zipper pocket on one side, and then we have our dual slit pocket on the other side. I'm going to sew open my side seam. And then we're going to put the lining and the exterior, sew those two together. Turn it right side out, top stitch. We're pretty much done. All we have to do is add some shoulder straps. All right, let's turn this right side out. That's just my iron going off. We're going to unzip the pocket because remember we're going to use this to turn it right side out. I'm going to die when I sew this zipper pocket shut and I didn't have to fold it. Just prepping you guys. All right, we're going to tuck the interior into the exterior. I'm always going to start with lining up my side seams. That's why we sew them open, just because everything lines up a little bit easier. What did you discover with the zip? I was driving and couldn't see. So when we use the zipper pocket to turn it right side out, I usually fold up the bottom of the zipper pocket. That way, once we have the bag right side out, I can just stitch that closed. And I was looking at it and I was like, I don't think we have to do that. All right, remember how I told you guys right here, it naturally bends like that, which is the wrong way. I'm just going to clip everything together and then, so this is the edge where it comes down, both of these sides right here. So when I get to stitching here, I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna take my clips off, reposition my zipper, same thing over here, and then keep going. I'm not gonna be able to show it to you because it's gonna be underneath my sewing machine, so I just wanted to double tap that. Where we started though, that's fine. That's stitched down. We don't have to do anything different with that. Grab a couple more clips. All right, let's begin. Let's start, oh, that's the back. Let's start here. Long time no see on my end. Hi, Don. If the whole bag was made with cotton fabric, what interfacing would you recommend to be firmer? For the outside, I would probably use 2 layers of woven interface and then 1 layer of woven interface for the lining. Sorry, hold your questions. Or you don't have to. Someone else might be able to answer them, but I'm not going to be able to look up for a little bit. All right. Nice and slow. There's no rush. We're coming to the edge. So I'm gonna make sure my needle is down in my bag. Gonna unclip, take a look, make sure it's lined up the way that I want it to be lined up, and then keep going. I'm gonna pause and do the same thing on the other end. Everything in place with my fingers. Again, this is an advanced technique. Practice. I think I may have messed up. I sure hope not. I'm going to finish sewing and then I'm going to take a peek at it. That edge where the bottom comes off is really the hardest part. Alright, let me take a look. When I was stitching, it didn't feel right. It looks okay. Yeah, we should be fine. If not, I'll just turn it right side or wrong side out again. All right. Just turn it right side out. car thing. Yes, Kim. Oh, no. That's not right. Because if we sew it like this without having folded it, nope, that's not right. It does need to be ironed down. All right, well, we all just learned together. It was not an epiphany. So yeah, it does need to be folded down because we're actually sewing on the right side of the fabric, not the wrong side of the fabric. So, okay, good. That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure. I was like, oh, something new, but no. No. Quiet. I really did not lose my mind, no. Okay, so this is gonna be a little tricky because my clips, I like to roll my fabric down. That way I can make sure that my lining and the outside matches up perfectly right here. It's kind of hard to do that with the zipper in the middle, so I actually use my larger clips because my little clips won't let me do that without pinching my zipper down. So I'm just gonna switch over to my larger clips. And I'm just going to roll it, make sure everything is nice and lined up, add a couple clips. Thanks, Carrie. Isn't it cute with the lining and the little heart? So just roll it, make sure everything is lined up, add a clip. Thanks, Susan. Quiet, Butters. All right. I'll just take that off when I get there. All right, let me tuck everything in, make sure it's nice and straight. Someone asked earlier how you cut the heart in the vinyl. It was so perfect. So I showed it at the very beginning of the video. I'm going to post this video on my YouTube channel later, so if you missed the beginning, you'll be able to catch that live. But I just printed a heart from the internet. I just downloaded this, and then I actually transferred that to a plastic cutting mat, and then I traced this onto my vinyl, and then I cut it out with this little craft knife set. But you can use like a box cutter. If you have a sharp blade, a box cutter would work. So all of the steps on how I did this, you'll be able to see it from start to finish on my YouTube later. Still no ring back? No, I actually had to mail it into them, so I'm not expecting to have it back within a month. Clips are on sale. Oh, are they? At Wallwack. I got these from Wallwack, but you can buy them on Amazon. They're a lot cheaper. The ones at Wallwack, though, in my opinion, the quality is so much better. I've never broken a clip that I bought from Wallwack. I have broken the ones that I get on Amazon. So if you're looking for longevity, invest the extra money. If you don't care if they last or not, buy them from Amazon. You can get a ton more on Amazon for cheaper. All right, let's go ahead and get our top stitch done. I like to start on the back of the bag. When I top stitch, you can start on the side. Usually just whatever side is usually going to be a little bit less visible. And for me, that's kind of like on this part of the back. But you can do whatever you want. All right, let's go. Make sure my hardware is pushed down. We're just going to stitch and turn all the way around. Susan, would you believe that this is the Big B just reduced to 85%? With a little zhuzhing. All right, we're coming back to the beginning of our stitches. I'm just gonna go nice and slow. There we are. All right, I'm gonna hit the ends with my lighter just to seal those up. So this is what it should look like if you use this technique. Oh, I got some sewing machine oil, which is okay. It comes right off. I just don't want to flash anybody. Just gonna use my shirt. Okay. So if you use this technique to do your zipper, this is how it should come out. So we flared it open, so we have a nice little curve on the edge. And then this should come straight off like that. If you have a couple of creases on it, especially the first couple ones that you do, that's totally okay. Don't beat yourself up, but practice first. So you can have this out where it zips all the way open, or you can even have it tucked in and it still zips all the way as far as it can open. You can tuck the tail in and you still have the full range of the width of the bag, whatever you prefer. When doing it at 85, you're not printing for the solid. Sam, you can do, so I just adjusted this bag. It's at 85%. What I did is I sewed one interior panel together, so the top and the bottom, I sewed those two together, top stitch, and then I just measured that to get the full size panel of the outside. So that's what it's going to look like when it's all done. Let's go ahead and wrap this up with a couple straps. This is going to be the only bag that I'm making today. But I might be able to come on tomorrow. We'll see. No promises. We'll see. All right, shoulder straps. We're going to add some double-sided tape to the center. My tape's been sticking to the side of the roll, so I just have to unroll it at an angle, and it works. If not, it'll get stuck like that. Ugh. I know that they would give me a new roll if I messaged them, but I don't want to put them out, especially if it's something I can work around. It's just more of an annoyance than anything. But this happened before, and they just mailed me a new roll. So you make the strap shorter for 85%. So I can give you the strap measurement since it's not in the pattern. I'm going to treat this just like I would treat any other bag maker's pattern that I change. If I change anything on it, then I can tell you what it is. I have to check you are on our live so I don't go on. I have no watchers. That's hilarious. I cut the strap 3 inches wide by 29 inches. I'm sorry, 29 inches long by 3 inches wide. But if you're watching the replay, or if you watch the replay on YouTube, all of the changes for the pattern that I make, I'm going to put them in the description. So don't worry about having to grab a pen and write that down. It'll be available on the replay. You're welcome. All right, let's go ahead and sew this up. I'm so excited to make it at 85%. Oh my gosh, this is so annoying. Are you doing it this weekend, Sam? Yes. What machine are you using? This is a Juki 1181. Is there a reason why you don't have written directions for this bag? Debbie, that's a good question. I want to say this was the very first. I can't say that. I'm not sure if this was the first sewing pattern that I ever released. But when I released it, I wanted to give people an alternative to having to read a whole pattern. A lot of people that I had talked with, they don't even read patterns. They watch a YouTube tutorial, they print out the pattern pieces, and then they make it. Me included. I used to do that a lot of time, where I would just look for a YouTube tutorial, watch somebody make the bag, print out the pieces, and then you just go at it. And not having to sit there and write all of the instructions and have to have my testers test all of the instructions, it was an easier pattern, which means that I was able to reduce the price. So the average price of my patterns for like a full pattern written bag is like $13.50, and I think this one is only like $8.50. So not having to write all of the individual directions saves me time, which means that I could sell it at a lower price because it didn't take me a lot of time to do. So those were the two main reasons why there aren't written directions for this pattern, so that I could sell it at a lower price, and because a lot of people that I was working with at the time that I wrote this pattern, they didn't even want the instructions. They wanted me to do a video, and they wanted the pattern piece measurements. Hopefully that makes sense. I think I'll make it Sunday. Okay. No, it's okay. It's a good question. I'm not offended. A lot of people ask that question. Some people love it. Some people hate it. That's okay. I've realized, like, having my business, you guys know I've been in business for almost 10 years. I know that I can't please everybody. I try to please as many people as possible, and I don't have a flippant attitude about those that I can't satisfy. I mean, I really wish that I could, but I just know that I can't. Where can I order your patterns? Butterbags.com. If you go into the menu, there's a DIY section and then digital patterns. But you can ask me anything. I'm not going to get offended, I promise. All right, last shoulder strap. Time is it? 1:45. So we've been on for almost 2 hours. I like written patterns with the video. Okay. 2 hours of the day. I'm quite jealous of your talent. Thanks, Mary. Don't be jealous. Get yourself a sewing machine and do it too. I know that's easier said than done. We all learn differently, 100%. I like the pattern pieces and videos. Yep. Everyone's different, and that's okay. All right, so I'm just going to clip that in place, make sure everything is nice and even before I secure it with a rivet. There we are. There we go. Let me grab my rivets. I am obsessed with the tulips. I love them. I actually like whatever you do. Thanks, Heidi. I'll have what she's having. All right. Get my press. So I had to remove my first rivet. It took me and my husband both. Really? Do you have wire cutters? I have wire cutters, and it makes life so much easier if you are trying to remove a rivet. Because what I'm able to do, wire cutters and some really thin pliers. So I can usually pull the cap off of one of the sides with my pliers, and then I use my wire cutters to cut through the post of the rivet. And that's how I usually do it, but it's not easy. It is not easy, it's not fun. Why'd you have to remove the rivet, if you don't mind me asking? We punched it first, then drilled it out with a tiny drill bit. That's funny. I reckon that would work too. All right. So that's what it looks like with the rivets. I just need to set them, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing over here. I had a wristlet strap and she wanted a crossbody. Oh, gotta do what you gotta do. This would, speaking of, this would actually be really cute on the wristlet. So if you have my wristlet pattern, which is this right here, there are 3 pattern pieces, 1, 2, and then 1 for the inside lining. If you use the inside lining pattern piece, it gives you a full panel for the outside, and then you can cut a little heart on the outside and do it on a little wristlet. You can make the heart smaller. You can do a couple small little hearts all over the place. But that would be cute. I'll probably wind up doing that this weekend. Are you using D-rings for your strap holders? Yes. When my daughter was little, I bought an Etsy sewing pattern. I wound up throwing away everything. Oh no, Mary. If you ever get one of my patterns and it makes you react that way, please email me before you throw it away. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. All of mine come with a video. So instead of just reading instructions and try to figure out what I'm talking about, you can actually watch me make every single pattern that I release. But if you watch the video and you're still having trouble, don't throw it away. Just send me an email. I'm happy to help. But I've heard of other people, and I've actually bought one. I called myself smart, and I found one overseas. I think it was like a Russian one. And I was like, no, please. Nowadays, we have Google Translate. And I just couldn't figure, it was for a backpack. I could not figure out what she was trying to tell me in the pattern. And it did not have a video, so I threw that one away as well. Patterns are easier now, yeah. This is a rivet press. I got mine from Gold Star Tool. Done. Okay. So this is the Big B printed at 85% with a zipper closure sewn directly on the vinyl instead of the zipper panel. So this is what she's going to look like. Remember how I told you the little heart that we cut out of our bag? Don't throw it away. That would actually be cute if you did something like that. But you can get a piece of red vinyl and then just sew these on. Don't throw it away. Or you can use it as like shoulder strap holders if you need some vinyl. So cute. I love the little tulips. It's so perfect for Valentine's Day. And then the inside, we have the exact same. It's kind of transposed, right? So we have the tulip plus we have the black accent pieces, and on the outside we have the black with the tulip. I don't think I closed my zipper pocket. Nobody was gonna tell me that either. Oh, who is that? Indy Rainy 75, yes. Is that the same size as the little bee? Yeah, the little bee, I think that may have been where the confusion was, and I just named that just a lovingly name for it, the little bee, but it is the big bee printed at 85%. It's not a different pattern, it's the same pattern. And we all know that we do still have to fold our zipper pockets. There's no getting around that. All right. Thanks for the reminder. All right, we're done. I think this weekend I'm going to do this technique on a wristlet, but I'm also going to make a smaller heart and just do a couple of different ones all the way around. And again, as long as you line your cotton, if you're using cotton with like 2 layers, you could probably get away with just 2 layers of woven interfacing. I used 1 layer of woven interfacing and 1 layer of Decaville Light. Heck, you can cut this pattern piece out twice. You can cut it out for the vinyl, cut it out for the fabric that you want poking through, and then you can do your little cuts on your vinyl, line up the fabric right behind your vinyl piece, and you can just sew them together at the little accent. So there's a couple of different ways to do it. Just thinking out loud. All right, done. Hopefully you try the technique of sewing the zipper directly to the outside of your bag. You can use it for a lot of different bags. Might be able to do it for the Kiana and get that little curve at the top right here. I'll probably try that a different day. But I will have this up on my YouTube later on this evening if you missed any of the video. Bluebird bag, like your purse. Nice. All right, thanks for hanging out with me, you guys. Thanks, Deanie. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I might be able to sneak on a little bit tomorrow to do a little bit of sewing. Not for sure. What's the pink bag behind me? This is my cupcake, Becca. So this is a slip pocket, and this is a slip pocket. It's got a crossbody strap, zipper closure, and then a navy polka dot inside with the slip pocket, zipper pocket. You're welcome. All right, y'all have a great weekend. Bye.